Hello and welcome to Elect Connect, a candidate forum brought to you by the Greater Bloomington Chamber of Commerce. I'm Mary Morgan, the Chamber's Director of Advocacy and Public Policy. We'll be talking with Trey Hollingsworth, a Republican who's running for U.S. Congress in District 9. But first, I would like to thank the sponsors of Elect Connect. Without their support, this work would not be possible. The Elect Connect sponsors include Comcast Business, Bunger and Robertson Attorneys at Law, the City of Bloomington, German American Bank, Hoosier Energy, Indiana University, and Smithville. And now we'd like to welcome Trey Hollingsworth. Trey, hello.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us. We'd like to just start by asking you to tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're running for office again.
Absolutely. Well, first and foremost, I want to thank Hoosiers that are tuning into this. It's so important to make sure that you're fully informed before going to the polls. I want to make sure every Hoosier has the opportunity to cast their ballot, opportunity to make sure their voice is heard in this election, and ensuring that you're informed so that you do so is hugely important. As she said, I'm Trey Hollingsworth. I'm your Republican candidate for Congress, and I'm really running on a platform of security, security, security. First and foremost, it's about securing Americans from the coronavirus, right? We've made historic investments in pursuing a vaccine more rapidly than we've ever pursued a vaccine before to ensure that we can protect our susceptible populations. I've led the fight on continuing to fund our biotech research, continuing to fund our basic research at Indiana University and across the country to make sure that treatment protocols, to make sure that antivirals, and to make sure ultimately we get to a safe and effective vaccine. So first and foremost, security from the coronavirus. Secondarily, security in terms of our economy, making sure that Hoosiers have the opportunity to be able to get a job, the opportunity to be able to regain a job, the opportunity to create their better American future because of a strong, robust economy. We were able, in partnership with the administration, to get to the most robust economy in generations just back in February. Now, the coronavirus hit that really hard, but we're already on our way back. We've clawed back 10 million jobs over the course of the last 3 months. Retail sales are already above where they were in February. Economic growth has resumed, and I want to make sure that it reaches every Hoosier all the way across our district so that every family feels like they have a better and brighter future. And the last security is making sure that we're secure in our streets, in our neighborhoods, and in our country. We've seen some of the civil unrest. We've seen some of the threats from abroad. We've seen some of the push from other countries to create more discord inside our country. I want to push back against that by making sure we fund the military appropriately, by making sure we back our police, by making sure we back our first responders, and by ensuring every American, no matter what zip code you live in, no matter what city you live in, no matter what rural area you live in, feels like they are safe from threats from abroad and safe in their homes. And so it's about security, number one, from coronavirus. Number two, economic security. And then number three, national and community security.
Okay. Thanks, Trey.
Of course.
And we just have a quick question for you.
Yes.
If you could just talk a little bit about what are the major distinctions that you see between yourself and the other candidates for this office?
Well, look, it's a great question, and I think that the contrast couldn't be bigger. Now, I'm not going to disparage my candidate. I'm going to spend my time talking about what he stands for and what I stand for. But let me tell you a little bit about what we've been able to do for Hoosiers, right? Over the last 3 years, we've been able to build the strongest, most robust economy, and I commit to every Hoosier that I'm going to work every day to be able to get back to that. Number two, I've kept my promises, ensuring that we get to a more responsive government. I'm the House's biggest proponent of lobbying bans. I'm the House's biggest proponent of term limits. I want to make sure that our federal government gets back to working for Hoosiers and Americans, not working for politicians in DC. And then lastly, I have continued my focus on ensuring that every Hoosier is at the center of healthcare. Right? There are a lot of people out there that are pushing single payer systems that put bureaucrats and government in charge of our healthcare, but I want to make sure you can make the right decision for your family. I want to make sure you have access to the care. I want to make sure you have access to cures that you want to see. And so for me, it's really about making sure that the promises that I've made over the last 4 years are promises that I continue to keep, that the values that we share as Hoosiers are the things that I'm working on in DC. And that's what I commit to you for the next 2 years that I'll be focused on.
That's great. Thank you so much. And again, we've been talking with Trey Hollingsworth. He is a Republican who's running for candidate. He's a candidate for the U.S. Congressional District 9 on November 3rd. Would also like to just give another shout out to our Elect Connect sponsors, Comcast Business, Bunger and Robertson Attorneys at Law, City of Bloomington, German American Bank, Hoosier Energy, Indiana University, and Smithville. And finally, we would just give you a reminder and hope that you will be voting in the November 3rd general election. You can find more information about this year's election, including candidates in our area, by going to monroecountyvoters.us or the Chamber site, chamberbloomington.org/2020-general-election. Thanks so much for joining us for Elect Connect.